continue a session talking about digital transformation and learning from somebody that has a wealth of experience doing that. So I'm going to have a fireside chat with Andrei Stamatian, who is the director of alternative distribution channels at UniCredit Bank, a bank that is like one of the large banks in the region. He's a seasoned banking professional with extensive experience in retail banking, corporate lending, process management, and organization. And in the preview chat, I got like a small preview of like all the exciting things that he's building, also using like conversational AI, and how he's really like making all this cool technology available for the masses, because that's at the end what we care about as technologists. So hopefully he can like enlighten us like how some of the stuff that many of you are building can help improve millions of people's lives. So with that, and without further ado, please give a warm welcome to Andrei Stamatian. Thank you so much. I think the first thing that I want to kick this off is ask you, what are some of the key drivers of digital transformation in the banking industry, and how has your company, UniCredit, responded to those trends?
Hello, Philip. Hello, everyone. So before I answer your question, first I'd like to congratulate you on the 10th anniversary edition of Tech Sylvania. UniCredit Bank is very happy to be back here and to be back here among the main sponsors, because this is a great event and I've learned so much from all the other sessions and also from interacting with the very, very interesting people that you have here. Now, we are a bit more different than the other participants because we're in a regulated industry and heavily regulated as a bank. And we look with great interest at what fintechs are developing and how nimble they are and the rapid pace of change. And we see this in artificial intelligence, but also in blockchain, also in big data analysis. And what we try to do is to partner with selected fintechs and to bring to our banking customers what are the new great technologies available. And I would go into an example on that on our artificial intelligence conversational robot that is using natural language understanding to understand our customers. We did this in cooperation with a company called Mediatel, using nuance licenses for language understanding. So what the robot does, and I'll also have a video in a few minutes so you actually see it more described in their own words. There's three main things. One is on inbound calls. So whenever the customer calls, the customer no longer has to push a button for their preferred option. They can just speak in natural language and they say, you know, I have lost my debit card. I want to change something on my credit card. And as long as we have a self-service available, Ioana, that's the name of a robot, and by the way, it's very important to make your robots more personalized, to assign them names from the beginning. And the more credible they are, you'll see them more successful. So on the St. John's Day, on the 6th of January, some people even wish Happy Names Day to our Ioana. So if there is a self-service available, Ioana will guide the customer towards that self-service. And this handles about 24% of the calls. If there is no self-service available, for example, if the customer says, I would like a mortgage, you cannot do that automatically, then they get transferred to an agent. But even in that case, we can use the robot for identifying the customer. Because you know, normally when you get an agent, the agent asks you a lot of questions in order to make sure that you are the customer that is really calling. And what Ioana says, look, if you log into our mobile banking app, like right now, not 5 minutes ago, like right now, then two things will happen. One, you'll be moved at the front of the line. You'll not wait in line to talk to an agent. And two, once you get to an agent, they will not ask you any more questions because they will know it's really you. So this is really, really helpful. So that's on inbound calls. Other things that we do that are also very useful is whenever someone tries to do something end-to-end and they're not successful. So suppose that you lost your mobile phone, you're changing it, and you need to self-activate mobile banking again, and for whatever reason you're not successful. If you're not successful, our systems will see that, and they will generate an automatic call from Ioana. They'll say, hey, I saw that you just tried to do this like virtually a minute ago, and I'm here to help. And this is a really good, positive surprise your customer experience because they're just trying to do that. So the very things that you're calling to help them with. So that's a a second large part of use cases. And the third one is helping us with digital sales. And with this, we have some products that you can buy end-to-end digitally so that you do not need any assistance. An example would be the virtual card, where in Romania there are only 2 banks that offer virtual cards. There are some other companies that are non-banks, of course. And there Ioana calls and says, look, we have this available. If you'd like to try it, please go ahead and do it. And let me compare and contrast that to just sending the customer a push message. Because you could do that. You could just send them a push notification. And in that case, you might know they opened it, but that's it. With a voice message, you know to how many seconds of the message the customer listened. So then you can tell if they really got the message. And we see that we have 99% delivery rate. So these are customers that listen to it for more than X, I think 6 or 7 seconds in order to get the idea of the message. So that would be an example of how we use our cooperation with other companies to launch the new technologies.
I love that Ioana has a personality and that like people wish her happy names day. And you said also like when we chatted before, right, like you gave her like this image. So making technology personally relatable is just like super important.
And to that end, maybe if your colleagues can help us to play the videos, or also people in the audience can get a feel for Ioana.
All right, let's play the video and have a look at Ioana, please.
Hello, greetings to all of you. I am Ioana, the vocal guide of UniCredit in Romania and a proud member of the retail team. My lines of code are delighted to meet you all today. I like red, I understand Romanian, I don't need breaks, and I never get tired. My artificial intelligence helps me to be a super fast learner, and I am here to make a difference by doing things that matter for our customers and our team. And you can trust me on that. I am a robot. We never lie. With me on call 24/7, our contact center customers said goodbye to cumbersome menus and annoying phone keypads to reach the next step. Instead, they get a natural conversation with a friendly voice that understands their needs and guides them through the automatic services available. And if they need to speak with a human, I am happy to help them with the identification and transfer the call to my talented colleagues. But that's not all. I also surprise our customers with proactive initiatives and provide real help when they need it most. And I'm skilled enough to contribute to our commercial initiatives as well. Despite the complexity of the Romanian language, I learned to understand it in less than 6 months by interacting with over 100,000 people, an average of more than 550 people a day. Most of us, we don't even meet 500 plus different people in a day, let alone talk to them. My support team is constantly adding new words to my vocabulary library, which is on premises. Since joining UniCredit Bank Romania, I've already made a significant impact. I have managed 24% of the inbound calls related to debit and credit card activation and support and mobile banking activation. I perform full customer's identification in IVR, guiding the eligible customer to log in mobile banking, and 40% of eligible customers finalize automatically their identification before even reaching a human agent, ensuring a shorter and more efficient experience. As the customers logs in mobile banking, we contribute to the percentage of active digital customers too. I run our Surprise Your Customer initiative. Have you ever been lost in the mobile banking activation process, feeling frustrated and helpless? Well, imagine receiving in real time a call from me, Ioana, offering you help and bringing you smile back. It's like having a superhero on speed dial. 32% of my calls are finalized with mobile banking activated. I run outbound campaigns, extending our bank sales and client interaction capacity without any assistance from my human colleagues. The results speak for themselves. Message delivery rate 99% and 33% digital sales increase of the virtual cards. I don't get tired of talking, so Romania would need 8 additional colleagues full year to perform my outbound interactions. My contribution continues to evolve. I'm always learning new skills such as additional self-services, marketing consent collection, remote sales, and support for omni-channel processes, all in line with our business strategy. Boy, I could speak for hours about my future, but I'll end here as efficiency is part of my DNA. Thank you for your time and attention, and don't hesitate to call on me. I'm always here for you. Goodbye.
Wow. Looks like Joanna is your by far most productive employee. I don't know if anybody else manages 550 people a day and proactively calls and like helps closing that many accounts.
Very productive, and if you see, we try to make her as relatable as possible. So she wears a red jacket because it's the color of UniCredit. We decided to make her blonde. It was a decision, it's a robot, you know. But after we made this image for Ioana, she became much more accepted inside the bank because now people can relate to the image that we're promoting as Ioana.
So looking at all the innovation that you've created here, how do you balance this with like security and stability as you go along your digital transformation efforts?
Well, we have to test a lot, everything that we do. And sometimes we launch things in hybrid mode, not fully finished. So for example, when Ioana was a long way done, but about 80%, not fully, we put her live, but she wouldn't understand everything yet. And we did not want to create a negative experience for our customers. So whenever a customer would call, Ioana answered, customer said their desire, and Ioana would always say, I understand. But there was a guy, Costel, in the back, who at the time, you know, he heard and he did the right thing. So from the very time we launched, people did not lose confidence in Ioana because we had this support. Then when she started really understanding everything, then we left her on her own. But it's important, the experience that you create to your customers. And I would like to share something that I found interesting here at this venue, and it's nothing to do with the organization, it's just the venue. If you want to take an elevator, and there is an elevator at the end, so there you have this panel, and you can choose 1, 2, 3, or -1. Then the elevator tells you if it's A or B coming, which is wonderful. So you choose one, you get in, and then nothing happens. Nothing happens because you need to push again one, even though it didn't say just up or down, it said choose the one. So this is a case where you expected it to know because you told it where you're going. And then you get in and nothing happens. So we wanted to avoid that.
Yeah, no, I love the way to launch technology and have humans augmented until it's really like can do what it does. I think it's like many times, like as technologists, we wait until we have perfected everything, and just by shipping and getting something out there, you improve it so much faster. So I love that approach. And then I think maybe going along those lines, what are some of the most important digital initiatives and projects that you are currently working on at a group level?
So at a group level, we're constantly on the lookout for new technologies to adopt. And there is a team that is called Digital Foresight. They have a wonderful job. They go to all the conferences, see whatever is new out there, and then they come back and they present to the countries, because UniCredit is present in 10 countries. And when we look at what they have to offer, we'll think, what do we have? What is our strength going there? And the strength is we already have the customers, we have the regulatory compliance, and we have an infrastructure, which would be good and bad, because it could be legacy that is the problem, but you have something to start, to build upon. And an example of something that they looked at recently was from a company that does call sentiment analysis. Now, let me put this into context. In doing outbound calls to sell products, we have agents that contact our customers, offer them the products, the deals that we have. And then there is a supervisor that at the end of the day, at the end of the week, listens a sample of the calls. Why a sample? Because there are many calls, you cannot listen to all of them. But it turns out there is a software that can listen to all the calls, also uses some training, artificial intelligence again, and it can tell if the agent presented all the benefits of the product, yes or no, because there are certain keywords they should have mentioned. But more than that, how did they use their voice to promote it? Was it empathetic towards the customer? Was it understanding? How did the customer respond? And again, the customer can respond with words that are negative or positive, or there is a level of voice that can be indicative of that. So the system listens to all the calls and then tells the supervisor, you should listen yourself to these 2 or 3 calls because these are problematic. You should use them for training. So that's one of the things that we're considering at the moment.
Yeah, it seems like very much like Joanna, where you have at-scale technology that can interact with volumes of data that humans could never get done. So switching to a local perspective for Romania, how does it fit into the broader strategy for digital transformation? Because you're one of the 10 countries here, and what are unique challenges and opportunities specifically in this market?
Well, we always look at the local market and we get customer feedback for what we should be doing. And whenever the customer sends us an email, we always centralize it, we look at them, we make sure that we follow what is needed from our customers. And then the challenge is to align with several other countries of the group, because if you're only one of the countries wants it, then it doesn't get implemented. So this is the fact that led us to doing the voice robot, because we are the only country in the UniCredit group that does it. This is what led us to do the virtual card. And again, there are many other companies that do it, but inside the UniCredit group is only Romania that does it. And there are a couple of things coming, but we'll announce them exactly when they ship out.
All right. Sounds like next year, Tech Slovenia, there's a good time to launch some new products, get us all excited.
Looking very much forward to that. Yes.
No. So, but going along those lines, how do you ensure that your digital products and platforms are tailored to the specific needs and preference of customers in different regions?
Well, we test a lot and try on specific focused part of customers to see. We do focus groups, and there is some examples where we don't do the focus group. So we're doing the cash loan in mobile banking. So you can get a loan completely digitally in 10 minutes. We launched it a few months ago. But when we were developing it, of course, legal and compliance wanted us to say a lot of things, like to write them down. So you start with the amount of the loan and interest rate, and then you scroll down and down and down. And by the time you get down, you forgot what was above. And you need to do that. You can't get around it. So I said, what can we do? And they said, well, use a focus group to see, if this is, you can change that. And then somebody in the technical team said, hey, let's just use a floating element, which floats on top, and it has the most important information, such as the interest rate and the size of the monthly installment. And we put that on top. It worked great. So it wasn't my find. It was a find of somebody in the technical team, and they developed it. But then I had to sell it back to management, because they told us to do a focus group, and we didn't. So we said, yeah, we know you told us to do this, but we decided not to, because in 2007, when Apple launched the iPhone, Steve Jobs said that if he had asked the customer what they wanted, they would have said they want a smaller phone. So, this is also why we did it. And I got two reactions to that. One part said, Andrei, you're really great at selling your thing. That's awesome. And the other one was like, yeah, Andrei thinks he's Steve Jobs. Okay, that wasn't the point. But I wasn't upset at the comment.
Well, there's worse things than being compared with Steve Jobs, so.
But that's why you use the great examples from the past.
Yeah, and there's a famous quote from Henry Ford, right? Like when he invented the automobile. If I would have asked my customers what they wanted, they would have said faster horses instead of a car. Right?
Absolutely right.
I do think it's when you have a paradigm shift, it's very, very rare that people immediately get excited. And somebody earlier at the session said, if you're building something and everybody gets it from the beginning, right? Like for investors and people looking at it, then you're not pushing the boundaries hard enough, right? So I think this is definitely very true. Anyway, so we've talked a lot about all the cool things and successful things that you've built, but what are some of the biggest challenges that UniCredit has faced in its digital transformation, and how did you address them?
Well, as I said, we're in a heavily regulated industry. So whenever we need to do something, we'll have to look if it is allowed. And the challenge is to predict when the regulation will change. So for example, in Romania, it used to be the case last year that if you wanted to do customer onboarding, you needed to have a video call with the customer, with each and every customer. So we tried to develop some of that and said, hey, this might change. I mean, all the rest of the world is going towards a video selfie, where you don't need an operator, they just do it. So we started developing some of that, and then thankfully the legislation changed in Romania also last year. But that's a challenge. How do you know when they will catch up with what you see as best practice in other countries of the world?
Yeah, no, this is, requires a lot of persistence and making sure that you get to the right point. So as you build all of these digital initiatives, how do you measure success, and what kind of metrics do you use? Because I'm sure a lot of people in the audience are wondering, when they digitalize their business, how do they look at success and progress?
Well, one measure is adoption, and we look at the percentage of digital customers. In our case, it is the mobile active users 30 days. So if they've used their mobile in the past 30 days, then they're digital, they would do it. And then for specific products, we look at the penetration of digital sales out of that product. And we look at per product because there are some products which are very complex, especially for corporate clients, that of course are not digitalized yet. So we don't look overall, we look per product. And we see that whenever we launch something, we have a big spike because you have the early adopters that are just waiting for us to do it. And when we did the virtual card in the first months, it was just off the charts because people were just waiting for it to come out. And then you see as it gradually moves the adoption curve, and we also use all the customer touch points, be it Ioana, be it our digital ambassadors in the branch, to move the customers along the customer journey for that product.
Yeah. So how do you, as you build all these things, right? Like, I mean, you mentioned earlier you partnered with a voice company doing that. I think Nuance is what you mentioned. So how do you collaborate with external partners, fintech startups, or other tech providers to drive innovation?
Well, we leverage heavily on the digital foresight team at the group level that is able to tell us what they do. I mean, we also look outside to be informed, but this is their job. And I was saying it's a really cool job, so they don't know everything that is out there. So if we say, look, we need something in this domain, what is out there, they can immediately tell us what is available. And then we say, okay, is this company right for our group? Is it right for several geographies? So this is the benefits of being part of a larger group.
And as you do this and look for partners externally, one of the most important things I believe is making sure that your team is capable using that technology. How do you like train and educate your internal team?
So you have distance learning, which is implemented, again, automatically for them whenever we launch something new. But then we also have digital ambassadors in each branch that are both a training force for the customer and for our colleagues. So we look for the colleagues that are most digitally inclined, and they're the first ones to have the alpha version, the beta version, they try it out, they learn it, and then they are the force behind it being spread in the organization.
That's really great. So it's like every day your team has a chance to learn and broaden their skill set and become more digital native. So looking ahead, what are some of the key trends and technologies that you and UniCredit are keeping an eye on in the digital banking space? What can we, what opportunities and challenges do you see going forward in that?
Well, to answer that, let me maybe come back with a question to you. If somebody asked you to describe yourself, how would you describe yourself? What would you say?
So I'm a big German guy living in Singapore.
Well, that's a good description. There is another description that's more general, that is okay for you, it's good for me, I think it's good for most people in this room, and that is called TAB, as in T-A-B, as in temporary able-bodied. Yeah, this will change with time. When you wear glasses, I have mine, I keep them in the pocket, I don't want to use them that much, but I need them, and I know I will need them more and more. And this goes towards digital accessibility. So we need to make our products more and more accessible to several categories of people. And to give an example, think about a curb. A curb makes the link between the road and the sidewalk. And if the curb is lowered, that is very useful for people in wheelchairs. It's good. But it's also useful for people riding bikes. It's also useful for mothers that are pushing a stroller around, or for people that go with a suitcase that's on wheels. So digital accessibility is not about disability, it's about universality, being available to everyone. And we're looking to have this implemented more and more in order to make sure that everything that we have is accessible also to other people. And to give you an example, the most used feature in mobile banking, not only at UniCredit, at all the banks, is payments. And yet, if you look at the details for your payments, many times you see a bunch of letters, numbers, and you go 3 rows down, and then it's something that's meaningful. Why? Because they got all this data from your backend systems, and that's not something that's really, really useful. So we're looking at changing that. You know, people always expect some new, really cool feature, and we do that as well. But we also do the features that are really useful for everyone. And we think that is an important way forward.
Yeah, I would love to have that. When I look at my credit card statement, half of the time I have no clue what's on there. Most likely because my wife bought something and I don't know. But even then, it's really hard to figure out what it is. So I think that innovation in payments is something that's super useful and that I'm very much looking forward to.
And here we can learn not only from the startups, but also from the large established companies. And there is a company that has headquarters in Cupertino that does lots of phones. And they have, didn't look into them previously, but they have digital accessibility features that are really, really useful, such as assistive touch that gives you a shortcut to many buttons that you need. You can set up back tap, so if you tap your phone 3 times on the back, it will open the feature that you want. I'm using it for the camera now. And this is something that people can customize. So it's not only giving them the accessibility feature you think is useful, but if you give them something they can customize is useful for them, I think that is the future.
All right. Thank you so much, Andrei. That was a really, really great conversation. Also, big thank you for being a recurring supporter for Techsylvania, joining us here. It means a lot that we can make all of this happen. Thanks to sponsors, and thanks for your presence. All please give a warm applause for Andrei and UniCredit. Thank you very much.
Thank you.